You're putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. You're making mistakes. You're failing your way to success. And I think that's really beautiful.
They didn't see it then, the late nights, the slammed doors. While they laughed, I learned. While they doubted, I decided. They saw a small town kid chasing something too big. I saw a life no one around me had ever lived. I retired my mom and my wife. I set myself free before my kids were born. Today, a penthouse in Mexico, a dream estate for my family, and over $1 billion in global sales. From 1A to 1 billion. This is what's possible. But this moment right now, this isn't about me. It's about you and what you're ready to claim next.
Hey, what's going on, and welcome back to the Diamond Life Mentor Podcast with your host, Balazs W Kardos. Today's episode is actually a bonus episode that I decided I wanted to share right at the time that I'm going to be speaking on stage as one of the final keynote speakers at the Najix Global Convention, the 51st anniversary. Now, if you're watching this, there's a good chance that you were at the convention and maybe you're just tuning in to my podcast for the very first time. And I told you on stage that I wanted to have a little bit more of a casual part 2 to my speech because I feel like I have a better opportunity to complete my thoughts and really deliver additional value to you based on the topic that I shared with you at the convention. Now, my topic was around the 3D framework that I've used to go from 1A to $1 billion in global sales in the past 12 years. And until this 3D framework really lands for you and you're able to adjust these 3 pieces, everything else is going to seem very unachievable and unattainable for you. So for anyone who listens to my podcast who hasn't heard my speech, I'm going to do a really quick overview of what I was sharing and paraphrase it, of course, because I'm not going to say it word for word and it's just going to come out differently. But the idea really is when I was thinking about what I could share, I only had 20 minutes allocated for my talk. It's not very much time to get into details around different things, right? And so when I came up with the thought, it was around the importance of making a decision, right? So the 3D framework, the first one is decision. And when you make a decision, it quite literally means to cut away from any other parts or any other options. And when we get started in a business like Najix, what a lot of people do is they think that they've made a decision, but what they've really done is just made a purchase. And this is so common that people don't realize that they're doing themselves this massive disservice because all they've really done is paid for a product, were excited about the potential of the business, most likely, had seen some information in a web class or a friend shared with them, and that's as far as they go. And from that point forward, they are in this resistance to anything to do with the business, the learning, the uncomfortableness of going through new information, learning new skills. And so there's this massive amount of weight and resistance on you because the fact is you haven't committed and decided yet. And it's wild to me that people could be in the company of Najix for so long and still not technically have ever gotten started. And the reason I say that is because until you have this purposeful decision made, and it's very strong, very powerful, connected with your why, connected with your purpose, you're going to just avoid the work. You're going to avoid sales. You're going to avoid marketing. You're going to avoid sharing your story, putting yourself out there, and everything's just going to not go well. And you become somebody who is misaligned. And the reason why people stick around is because they feel some form of connection with the community aspect or the personal development side of things, or they want to create this dream, but it's still more like a fantasy. So the question really becomes, have you truly decided, or are you still dating the dream? Because for myself, I didn't just decide to join Enagic or become a customer for Enagic. For me, quite simply, after my 5 years of being a product customer with Enagic, which was actually the same 5 years where I hadn't really decided yet. I love the product. I love the water. It made a huge difference to my health, and I really believed in it. But it didn't come to this realization until 5 years after my mom got the machine. And certain circumstances in my life led me to realize that if I didn't make a new decision for my future, for my goals, for where I wanted to be one day when I became a father, that it wasn't going to happen just because I was wishing or hoping that it would, right? So by the time I got serious about starting my Enagic business and launching my business and going all in with my business, the decision wasn't to build Enagic. The decision wasn't to hit 6A. The decision wasn't to make money or quit my job, right? These things that we hear people say all the time. My decision was very, very massive and emotionally triggering, inspiring, and it lit a fire within me that no one would ever stop me, okay? And I decided to set my family free. I decided to break generational cycles and curses, and I decided to be the one who changes everything in my family's history, lineage, and so on. That was the real decision that got me from 1A to 1 billion in sales, because it was so deeply rooted and it was so powerful and it was so real that every single obstacle and challenge and adversity and setback and failure and disappointment and negativity and all of it, the same exact things that everybody will go through and everybody will experience at different stages of their journey, I had such a strong, powerful reason why, and a decision that was so deep and so strong that it made me unstoppable. It made me, I just knew. I knew I would do it. I knew I would make it happen. And every time it got difficult, I just got back to reminding myself of this decision. And I was basically saying, man, you decided to set your family free. You decided to break generational cycles and curses. Do you think that's going to be easy? Do you think you're not going to run into some problems or some things that don't go your way or don't go as planned? Come on, man. You're doing something no one has ever been able to achieve in your entire family's history. Get back to it. You can do this. And it was just so, so powerful. So my encouragement is for you to really ask yourself, what did you decide so far? What did you decide when you made the investment, when you paid the money to get involved with Enagic's products and opportunity? Because the chances are that if you're struggling, if you're not making sales, if you're procrastinating, if you're avoiding the work, if you're making excuses, if you're being a victim, if you're blaming on other people or leaders or uplines or downlines or systems or trainings or the lack of those things or anything else, your decision was weak. Your decision wasn't powerful enough for you to basically blast through any and all obstacles to achieve your vision. And of course, there's no promise or guarantee that you will have $1 billion in global sales in your business. I'm not saying that. But there is a very high likelihood that if your decision was weak, if it was just casual, if you just wanted to make a little money, a little side hustle, quit your job, spend more time with your family, these types of things, the chances are that the comforts of your current reality, the comforts of your job, your paycheck, your home, your car, the city you live in, is going to be an easier choice than the discomfort of what it takes to be successful in this type of industry and this type of business and this type of company. And so you're in a position right now to choose a new decision. And if you choose one that is so strong and so powerful and so deep, such as mine and anyone else in this company who has achieved top ranks and top income and really built something sustainable, duplicatable, with massive amounts of leverage that allows them that real financial freedom, time freedom, location freedom, you will notice that if you listen to the other successful people who spoke on stage at the global convention today, or just in general, top leaders, top income earners in this company and across this entire industry, when you listen closely to what they share and their story and their why and their decision, you will see the common thread. You will see the common theme that they found something so powerful to connect with, to hold on to remind themselves of their real true power and purpose, that they became unstoppable and they just followed through, which leads me to the next piece, which is discipline. All right. Now, discipline is an interesting thing that I've been thinking about for a while, and that's the reason why I included it in my speech, is that people make it sound like discipline is the effect of something, right? It's like it's like a personality trait or a habit that you develop and so forth. But in my opinion, discipline isn't that. Discipline is something that is automatic when your identity is in alignment with who you say you are and who you want to become. I'll give you an example. Have you ever heard someone describe a mother as disciplined to breastfeeding her child? Right? Now, there is obviously a lot of work and commitment and daily repetition to feed your baby. And technically, if you are exclusively breastfeeding, like my wife is with my son at the moment, you are very disciplined to feed your child, because when the baby cries, when the baby's hungry, she feeds him. Never misses, never compromises, doesn't skip a feeding, doesn't skip a day, doesn't say, I'm tired today, I'll get back to it tomorrow. No. But we would never describe a mother as disciplined to feeding her baby, even though that is quite literally a perfect example of discipline. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because if you only consider your income producing habits as something that you're trying to do, you're trying to fit it into your schedule, right? It's an extra thing on top of your other responsibilities, then it feels forced. It feels like you're constantly putting this pressure on yourself to be disciplined to build the business or to do income producing activities, right? But the reality is that discipline isn't the cause. It is the effect of a powerful decision and a reason that burns. It is part of your identity change. So it's not something that you try to do. It's something that you have become, and it's a standard that you live by. So you don't need more motivation. You need a reason that is so real and so powerful, it simply rewires how you show up. And a couple of examples around this is when I made my decision to set my family free and become somebody that I always dreamt of being. A present father, a loving and devoted husband, being able to have time freedom, location freedom, and quite literally be financially set. I never needed discipline to build my business. I never needed discipline to get back to interested leads or make phone calls or show up to trainings. I just had such an identity shift that that's who I was. That's what I did. So when the opportunity was there, I accepted the opportunity. I didn't hesitate. I didn't doubt. I didn't, wonder I need this. No. It was automatically who I was, and that's what I did. And now, for many years, I actually had a lot of challenge with being disciplined around my health, around my fitness, around my diet, and so on. And the problem was that I was trying to change the old me to do something that wasn't aligned with my old identity. My old identity, when I first had money and was living on my own, I was responsible for myself and so on, I had an identity that was attached to this concept of I'll decide. And my friends even made fun of me for a while there where it was like the I'll decide diet. And so I actually had an identity where I felt powerful to eat what I wanted, to afford what I wanted, to pay for it, to have takeout, to have, steak or burgers or pizza or junk food or whatever. It's like I felt powerful that I could just order it on my phone, pay for it, no big deal. I had the money because that wasn't my reality years prior. So I felt like that reward, I turned food into a reward. I turned food into something that I ate my feelings. When I was stressed out, I had a long day, I forgot to eat all day long. And then finally, when my hormones were kind of balancing, my hunger was going through the roof, I became like a savage of like, oh, what am I craving? What's like the food that I want so badly right now? And then I would make poor health choices and things that were not necessarily good for me, but they satisfied my appetite and tasted amazing and all these things. And I struggled with this for many years. And it wasn't until recently I had two major changes. When my daughter was almost born, I had a massive awakening to what health and fitness and nutrition and taking care of myself, what it actually meant. What were the consequences of my choices? And how they were so much greater than just what I wanted in the moment. The instant gratification of something that was going to be tasty or sweet or indulgent or like a cheat meal or something like this. I started to actually look at how my choices had this very powerful compounding effect that could lead me into dis-ease. It could lead me into health issues. It could lead me into an early death. And it got me really, really scared of my identity and how I was showing up. And so I changed. And it wasn't an overnight thing, but it was an evolutionary piece where I decided enough is enough. I have to put myself first. I have to take care of me. I have to train. I have to get back in shape. I have to do these things. And so that was in November of 2020. Fast forward a few years later, I had progressed and made all these other pieces start to fall into place. And then my son was going to be born last year in October, and I had another massive epiphany where my effort in the gym, my effort of training and so on, there was still a gap because I wasn't lean. I didn't look the way that I felt. I didn't look the way that my PRs in the gym were showing me. So I was getting stronger. I was building muscle, but I still was fat. Like I had a high body fat percentage. It was like 17, 18%, which isn't crazy high, but it's higher than I wanted. And so I had this epiphany again, and I was like, I have to look and feel the way that my physical appearance has to match my effort. And if I'm not sticking to something, I'm letting myself slide in certain aspects of my health and wellness and my vitality. And so ultimately I looked at myself, I was brutally honest, and I said, where am I like being lazy? Where am I not taking things seriously? And so as of January 1st, 2025, I changed my identity and shifted it. And I was like, I am somebody who walks a minimum of 10,000 steps every single day without missing, no compromise. I am somebody who drinks a minimum of 1 gallon of Kangen water every single day, no compromise. I am somebody who tracks my food and my macronutrients and eats healthy whole foods, and I don't miss and I don't compromise. And because of this no miss, no compromise identity shift, I haven't missed in almost 6 entire months consecutively. And I've been on trips, I've had holidays, I've had birthdays, I've had anniversary events. My brother got engaged. Like, lots of life things happen. I have a newborn baby. I got a toddler. I got stress in my business. I got all kinds of things going on. And there were some days it was very difficult to stick to those identity changes. But because it was, I do not miss and I do not compromise, and that was just who I was, the discipline to get it done was effortless. That's the thing that I want you to understand. So the discipline is not something that was forced. It was actually something reinforced because of who I say I am and who I believe I am. And so for yourself, if you're struggling with being disciplined around health, wellness, fitness, business, sales, marketing, it's because you are still in your old identity that you're trying to leave behind, right? You're trying to leave behind somebody that you're truly not happy with, who isn't making enough money, who doesn't have enough freedom, who isn't fit and strong and lean, who isn't confident and feeling amazing about themselves, or whatever the case might be. You are still that person who's forcing this new idea, and it's just going to be rejected, okay? So if you are ready for a change, truly, you got to change your identity. You have to actually show up as somebody who automatically does those habits and does those actions and is very consistent and does not miss. And you will be amazed at how quickly you can shift and how quickly you can change. Because it's kind of like saying somebody who smokes, is their identity is a smoker, right? And now they're trying to quit smoking. So now they're going against their identity. They're a smoker who's trying to quit smoking. Not going to work. But if you rechange your identity to, I'm a non-smoker, I do not smoke, that's not what I do, you're never going to have trouble with smoking because you just don't smoke. Same thing when somebody quits alcohol or stops drinking in general. It's like, I don't drink. It's not, I'm trying to stop drinking or I'm trying to not have a drink tonight. Won't work. You're going to be miserable. You're going to be depressed. You're going to hate your life. You're going to hate yourself. But if you're simply someone, I don't drink, it's not something that I do, you won't have any trouble not doing it. So that's the second point. The third point is around destiny. Now, destiny is an interesting one because I believe that we're co-creators with God. We're co-creators with the universe, all right? So destiny isn't something that you stumble into. It's something that you co-create, all right? And God gave you the vision, right? God gave you this vision of what you want your life to be like. That vision in your mind, when you connect to it, when you close your eyes and you see your future and you see what you want your life to be like, is your vision. It is special to you. It is not random. It is not something that anyone else can create in exactly the same way as you. Those details, those choices are yours and yours alone, given to you by God as a vision. But He's also waiting on your action. And your identity needs to match the vision. Who you become has to match the vision. So sometimes I hear people say things like, go build your business, right? The reality is that you don't build your business. You build you. And the person you build goes and builds the business effortlessly because their identity automatically creates discipline on the right habits and actions that will lead them to success and achieve the goals and the milestones and the ranks and the income and the freedom, no matter what. It's just a matter of time. The time is an illusion. It can feel like a short time. It can feel like a long time, but inevitably you're moving in the direction of your dreams and your dreams are moving in the direction of you. And that's literally how it works. So the final piece, the final recipe to this is that you have to reverse engineer the life you've seen in your dreams back into action steps and then build that with precision. All right? So if you can start with the end in mind, whatever that is for you, wherever you want to live in the world or how you want to live in the world or what type of home you want to live in or the things that you want to experience, the people you want to be with, all of those details, right? Using all of your senses, and you start with the end in mind of your ideal life. Then you start to bring it back to where you were at today, and you will get so much clarity on what is the next priority and what is the next focus point. All right? So when your decision is true and your discipline is aligned, your destiny doesn't just happen, it becomes inevitable. So this is kind of summarizing what my speech was about. And I had so many people come up to me, taking pictures, wanting to chat with me. People wanted to work with me. They wanted to sign up again and reaffiliate with me in Enagic, which, by the way, I absolutely will not do, and I'm super against that. But people wanted to know how they can learn from me, how they can be more in my proximity. And so I wanted to share a couple of those options with you, and it might be a great fit. Number one, my podcast. My podcast has been running now for a couple of years. This might be the first episode that you've listened to, as I kind of gave you a suggestion to check it out. And hopefully it has been extra valuable after you saw it on stage. And for those of you that weren't there, I hope it was valuable for you to get the kind of like summary Cole's notes of my speech. And the second place is my Instagram. I post on Instagram 3 times a day on my personal page. I also have some other company business pages as well. I have a Diamond Life Mentor podcast Instagram. I have an official Diamond Life coaching Instagram. And we also have some new ones that are in development for the GPM Method, GPM Base, and GPM System. So there's a lot of things going on in Instagram. But my personal account, we post 3 times a day. You'll find tons of value there. And I also share behind the scenes clips and stuff on my stories from my life with my kids and my travels and all kinds of different things. The next piece is that a lot of the times people have trouble with staying focused and what do I do every single day and how can I get value every single day. So I'm going to offer something special on this episode, which is a Zoom call, a Zoom webinar, absolutely free. We're going to be announcing when that's going to take place, probably a week or 2 after convention. You will see the link in the show notes below, and you'll be able to click on that, put your name and email in, and register for this Zoom training. It'll be kind of an example of what my Diamond Life mentorship coaching is like. I'll have a chance for people to ask questions. I'll give you live hot seat coaching in the spot. It'll probably be about a couple of hours. There's going to be limited spots available, whatever the max is on our webinar room in Zoom. I don't even know what it is. I think it might be 500. So definitely register as soon as possible. Come check it out. For those of you who've been possibly wanting to work with me, learn from me, have me be your coach or your mentor or whatever, this is going to be a really powerful opportunity, completely free of charge. It's just a bit of a bonus for being at the global convention, for supporting me, for coming up to me, sharing stories with me about how I've impacted your life. It just really meant a lot to me. So thank you for that. And I want to give back in that way. Alternatively, there's going to be another really great opportunity that we're only offering for the convention. It's a special pricing where I have come up with a concept called the GPM Method. Now, you may have heard of something along the lines of a daily method of operation, a DMO. And highly successful people, they run a routine every single day, like a ritual, a set of habits, a set of actions that leads them to the results in their life, right? For example, it's certain things that you eat, certain ways that you train your body, how much you hydrate, supplements that you take. That would be examples of things that you do every single day without missing that gets you a lean, strong, healthy body. And it's a ritual and it's a daily method of operation. You just run it every single day. It's habit, it's routine, it's ritual, etc. And now you can do that across different areas of your life. You can do that around your personal development, personal mindset. You can do that around your mindfulness to clear the body from stress, doing things like breath work and meditation and cold plunging and saunas and things like along those lines. You can also do it through learning, right? Reading a certain amount of pages every single day, listening to audiobooks or podcasts to develop your perspective, your philosophy on life. You can also do this around your business as well, certain actions or certain things that are non-negotiable in your life where you contact a certain number of leads every single day no matter what, or you follow up with your existing leads through email marketing or DMs or phone calls or text messages or whatever it might be. So once you have a successful DMO that you can follow, your life will transform, okay? And so over the years, I was trying to find a way to share the things that have worked for me, and I wasn't able to really figure it out until about 6 months ago. So I developed an app, fully custom. It's my own formula for a daily method of operation. So we've called it the GPM Method. And inside this app, not only do you have your daily habits that are tracked, so it tells you what to do. It gives you a very simple checklist. When you check it off, you start streaks, which you get rewarded for doing things consecutively, consistently every single day. There's groups that actually shows other members of Enagic and the wider community, as well as my team, who are completing things that are important, like their daily workouts or hitting personal bests or going on streaks for these pillars that lead you towards success. And we also do challenges and we do sprints. And sprints are very powerful in this industry. And 90-day sprints are life-changing and game-changing for who you become, how you level up, and the success that you can create in a really short time. We are going to host 2 sprints every year. One is right before the convention, and one is towards the end of the year, finishing right before December, when people typically take some time, holidays, family time and stuff. So we're going to do 2 90-day sprints, and then we're also going to give you training and workout programs. We're going to give you diet and nutrition, macronutrients to help you hit your fitness goals, whether it's gaining muscle or losing body fat or maintaining your physique, whatever those goals may be. And we're also going to give you a very powerful proprietary day one method intake process. Now, what this is designed to do is to ask you deep questions about your past, your current, present reality, and your future vision and goals. Now, this is an in-depth process. It takes people 2, 3, 4 hours, okay? So it's not a quick thing. But the reason why this is so impactful is that we have designed a proprietary GPM AI coach that's built into the app that you can communicate with inside of the DMs. And by you having this initial day one method intake process, the GPM coach actually gets to know your backstory and who you are, and it allows it to coach you better and more impactfully. Then we have also daily check-ins. So we give you a copy and paste template. You got to fill in the blanks with specific data points from your wearable smart technology, your scale, and how you feel, your mood, your energy, your sleep, all these different things. And it actually coaches you in real time. So if you had a hard day, a stressful day, lack of sleep, you're hungrier than usual, or whatever it might be, you're going to enter this data every single day, and it's going to help you win the day, conquer the day, and make adjustments on the fly. It is incredibly powerful, and I went from 17% body fat down to under 10% body fat in just 4 months because of using this proprietary GPM coach. So I think you're going to be absolutely blown away by that. There's a lot more really cool features on this, but the reason why I wanted to share this with you is because one of the things that came up a lot at convention was, I'm not sure what to do, I'm overwhelmed, I'm lost, I'm confused because this person has this strategy, this person has that strategy. Do I do online? Do I do offline? I had like a bazillion questions like this, and the truth of the matter is all of that can work, but what works the best is when you kind of simplify things and you keep it very consistent day after day after day, and that's what we've developed inside of GPM Method, okay? So we're going to give you access for just $1, all right? It's just $1 as a trial, and then it renews after that to $99 USD per month, and I promise you this thing's worth hundreds of dollars a month. Like, you're going to be changing your mindset, you're going to be changing your health, you're going to be changing your diet and nutrition, you're going to be changing your fitness and your training, you're going to be changing your business and your income producing activities, you're going to have accountability, you're going to have check-ins, you're going to have, I'm telling you, this is a one-stop shop, okay? This app is beyond powerful, and I really want people to experience what we've put together and see you next year at convention completely a new person, all right? The second thing is that, obviously, as you know, there are some challenges with traditional paperwork, and so we've also created another really cool, powerful thing called the GPM Paperwork Automation, which is for Canada, Australia, and the US at the moment. But all it does is basically take the paperwork that we need when we have a new customer, it simplifies it down into steps, does a lot of the automations behind the scenes, sends everybody the appropriate paperwork, and simplifies it so you can process your orders faster. And that's also available now. And then finally, the last way that I'm able to help you is through my coaching program, my mentorship program. And the thing that I really want to address with this is, yes, it's a paid program. And yes, it is not necessarily cheap. But the reason why I do this is because I am so against reaffiliating. And I had to come up with a way to be able to serve and help and coach people and really get them incredible results in their life without that awkward energy of someone being like, can I just buy products from you again and then you can make money off me like that? I don't believe in that. So I want you to stay on whatever team you're on. I want you to stay with whoever your sponsor was. I don't care if it's in my downline or across the whole company. But if you do want to have proximity to me to have coaching, there is a fee, okay? And if that's not something that is in your budget or not something you want, that's totally fine. Like I said, my podcast is completely free. I have literally hundreds of hours of content on my podcast. I have a free community called GPM Base. I have a Facebook group that's free. I do a lot of stuff for free. But for me to basically become someone's coach, it has to make sense. And there is a small fee, in my opinion. It's small for me, like it should be a lot more. But I've found a kind of a sweet spot that is fair to people who invest into it. And it's also fair for me to take time away from my family and other things that I could be doing with my time to make it a win-win. All right. So those are some ways that I can serve and help you, and I'm looking forward to it. And honestly, like any one of those things are great. If you are somebody who just wants to transform all areas of your life, then probably I would recommend the GPM method first and foremost, and then secondarily the GPM or the mentorship and coaching program second. But if you're unsure on the mentorship and coaching program, I recommend at minimum, click the link in the show notes to register for the free Zoom training, where I'm going to give you a little taste of what that could be like for you. And then if it feels good or you think it's valuable, then you might want to take the next step. But yeah, it's been an amazing time in my life in the last 6 months since the beginning of 2025. It's been an absolute roller coaster. I have had so many things going on and somehow managed to stay with my new standards, my new identity, my new habits, drop body fat, be in the best shape of my life, feel incredible, have 2 kids that I spend most of my time with. We bought a brand new estate that's 1.4 acres on a brand new home that we're moving into in the middle of August. You saw a little glimpse of that in my walkout video. And we also have a brand new penthouse in a beautiful brand new hotel that's being built right now as we speak that will be completed in the first quarter of 2026. So life is just absolutely abundant, and it's because of the 3Ds. The decisions I made in the past, the discipline that has become automatic because of my identity, and my destiny that is basically a co-creation with God, where I knew what the vision was for a global prosperity movement. I saw it in my mind, and now I'm holding it in my hands. And you have the power to do exactly the same thing. And hopefully I can contribute to your success even more than I may have done up until this point. I'm going to be getting back onto my new podcast episodes post-convention and getting back into a new routine now that my son is 8 months old. It's definitely been more stable, and we got a better sort of overall routine in our family. But yeah, the first 6-7 months were definitely intense, and it just felt like I didn't have the bandwidth or the capacity to do a lot of the things that I love to do, like my podcast. But I think I'm going to be starting to kind of ease back into that now, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you for being here. Thanks for being at convention, for saying hello, getting a picture. It was awesome to meet you. And I hope to see you on the free Zoom training call that we're going to do in the next couple of weeks. And then if any of those other ways that I could serve you and help you and contribute to your success are appealing to you, you'll see the links on my Instagram. You can see the pin post at the top of my account for more information on each one of those things. And you can also click the link in my bio to sign up for the $1 trial. Give it a go, check it out, see how it is. And then I hope that you commit to it for at least 12 months so we can have a massive life-changing transformation for you. So thanks for being here, guys. And until next time, every Wednesday, we have a brand new episode on the podcast. There's going to be another one coming out next Wednesday on our regular schedule. This was a bonus one that dropped on the Saturday, June 21st. And yeah, it's been awesome, and I'm looking forward to connecting with all of you very soon. Make sure you give me a follow on Instagram if you haven't already, and send me a DM with any pictures or videos that you took from me speaking on stage. I always love to see those little clips. All right, bye for now. We'll catch up again real soon. Take care.